Hello, welcome to another Chinwag Wednesdays, and I'm going to be talking to a good friend of mine, Tom from Eat the Country, and I warn you now, this episode I'll almost guarantee goes in one or many directions, probably fruity, probably adult humour, adult language and things like that. I'm not even going to bother to apologise in advance. But again, just to reiterate, Chinwag Wednesdays is something that I'm doing every Wednesday, funnily enough, live at 7 o'clock. And I'm going to be putting it up afterwards on Instagram and YouTube as a podcast. And the idea is to chat with and have chinwags with some people, some businesses, whoever, hopefully about some interesting topics, and just have a good old chinwag basically. Tonight we've got a bit of a theme because we're going to be talking a fair amount probably about bullshit food and drink. So let's get Tom on here now. I did see that he'd joined. I haven't had a request come through, so let's try and get him on then for a few seconds if you're watching and listening just as Tom joins. So here he is.
Good evening, darling. How are you?
My guy.
How are we going? Good?
I feel, hang on. Should I?
I say, we look like it's like sort of like a Buddy Holly club, isn't it? Something.
Daddy!
The two Ronnies.
I'm gonna put the other ones on because I don't find them as comfortable, if I'm honest. But how are you, mate? You well?
I am well. I'm just tonight I'm drinking Hive Mind. I'm not sponsored by this guy. Hive Mind is they're like a Welsh. They make mead. They're based in Cardiff, I think. And my sister.
Wow, you've launched straight into product placement.
No, I mean, I like supporting little companies. And when we talk about food bullshit later on, you shall hear all about that.
Yes.
But my sister said she got these from the National Trust shop. I don't think she had the courage to drink mead. So I thought I'd have a go. Anyway, cheers.
Well, I had. Well, I'm on a hot squash at the moment. I feel really boring now. Should I get some shots in?
Is that because your underpants are too tight? Or is it?
Oh, mate, I just feel a bit run down. But anyway, I gave a brief intro, but I think it's always best if I throw it over to you. Do you want to introduce yourself and introduce Eat the Country, just in case there's someone out there that has not heard of you? I doubt it, though.
There must be someone. Yeah, my name's Tom. I do a thing called Eat the Country. I'm forager. But also big advocate of wild food, seasonal food, wild meat, etc. Like supporting British small food producers, or any British food producers, as long as they're ethical or reasonably ethical. And I just like to talk about, not eating crap food. I like to talk about reconnecting with nature. I occasionally use really thoroughly modern terms like wellness, because one of my walks said, "Oh, this is actually a wellness thing." I thought, "Is it really?" But you won't be well when we've had 5 pints in the pub afterwards. But and yeah, I just love all this stuff. And Alex and I kind of like came on each other's radar, wouldn't it? We didn't literally come onto each other's radar because it wouldn't work. But
you never came on my radar.
It came on my radar. I have to go Cornish when I'm making those sorts of jokes. And so we were both into kind of like wild food, and Alex has always been very into like meat and game and stuff as well. And I like cutting up a deer in my kitchen. So we're kind of on the same page with that.
But it started before all that, didn't it? Because
go on, little fangirl, go on.
I will go all fangirl on you. You, as I've said before, you were my Insta hero when I was new to Instagram. Someone just choked on their tea.
Result.
I think that was probably coming on the radar.
Exactly.
I gave a pre-warning about tonight.
Alan Turing liked doing that, I think.
Anyway, so when I was new to Instagram, you were doing your thing in a different capacity, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching you. I think you're a very entertaining bloke. You're borderline at most times, and and then we ended up talking, didn't we?
We did. We got chatting away.
I don't know how that happened. Probably just in like messages and stuff to start with, and then we ended up like meeting up,
I
and we've
think
done a
you met
couple of
up with. I
things.
think you met up with Jamie first. It was the guy I was doing Wild Bastards and Wild Scoundrels with back then, and then I don't know, somewhere along the line we ended up catching up, and we've had a few events and a few drinks. We
Without
keep.
naming any names, because it's not about that, but we had a particularly bad Sunday roast once, didn't we?
We did. Where was that?
Well, let's not say, but that was sort of local round here at that estate.
Well, we were going to do a food review and we just couldn't bring ourselves to it. It would have been,
It was
this is absolute shite. I mean,
it was so
it was like
bad,
when you
wasn't
go to
it?
like Aldi and they've got like, frozen, frozen roast dinner for like dying old people.
And do you remember
Uh,
it came out all in one dish, just piled on, wasn't it?
it was just, it was dry. It was rubbish. You know, that when the waiter comes over and they go, "Is everything okay?" and you just sort of hit them in the face. It was awful. I mean, there was a nice bar around the back where we went for a glass of wine afterwards, I think. But yeah, it was a shame because the place looked amazing. But it was just, and also there was no ambiance there. I like it, the ambiance. And it was just rubbish. I mean, I've done a few food reviews since. I've done some really nice pubs actually. And because it's hard when you do food reviews because you've got some people say, well, are you honest? I try to be honest. If something tastes like shit, I'll say, look, I'm not going to talk about this dish because it's rubbish. They normally give you free drinks and get all apologetic, so it's quite good to do that. Yeah, but no, that was it. But it was. We did have a laugh that day, though. Yeah, it was somewhere down your neck of the woods. You're right. Let's not name names.
Yeah, it's
Um,
not about that. So, I know we were talking earlier, and you're planning what 2026 looks like and what you're doing and things like that. But what would you say that Eat the Country was? What are you doing at the moment that you know that you're carrying forward and things like that?
well, up until now, I mean, obviously, it's this silly sort of content. I mean, it's serious too because I mean, foraging is a serious thing. You're holding life and
Very,
death in your hands.
very serious.
Very serious, dude. But I always have a bit of a laugh with it. But I think it's basically been foraging walks, essentially taking people on walks. We'd like to go for about an hour or 2 hour walk, and then we go for a pint, and it's been nice. There's been a few little events that have popped up here and there, and I've done about 3 or 4 festivals this year, just doing like sort of like appearances and talks about. I've been talking about mycelium. I've been talking about foraging. I've been those kind of things. So I'm thinking, like, what do I do next? So I'm moving to Dorset, which is where I've always wanted to live.
How are
Uh,
you?
yeah, absolutely. Not sure where yet. I'll be in the
Oh,
van to start with, I think, and then we'll just maybe Bridport, maybe Sherborne, and somewhere like that. I don't know.
yeah.
And I want to try and maybe do something which is a bit more like based there, so I'm not constantly driving around the country because I do like doing that, but it gets a bit expensive and time consuming. I'm still do a bit of that, but I want to try and up my game a bit with the events. I've been doing some events with the Pig hotels. Next
Brilliant.
Thursday we've got a truffle walk with them. I did a load of stuff with Soho Farmhouse, which I'm about to finish doing. Sort of like the sort of once a month walk for them. And
With the truffles, so you're just sort of down on your knees,
oh,
finding them, or
well, dressed as a pig.
yeah,
Um,
is that an
Basically,
extra
we
or?
get chased around by a bunch of randy rednecks with rifles. It's kind of like Deliverance, but in Sussex. And there's someone playing a banjo. No, basically, we're just gonna. Yeah, There's a friend. My friend Ben has got a dog called Buddy, who's like a fantastic truffle dog. And yeah, we'll just go up there and do that, and then afterwards we'll have a meal which has got like truffle related things in it that the chef will put together. And they're really fun, so I want to do more of that. But I want to create events that are a bit more high end. So foraging, and then maybe like in the evening, break down a beer, talk about that. And then around the fire, everyone can sort of like, hand around a guitar and play crap versions of Wonderwall, but that's great. I mean, who doesn't love doing that, right?
I
And
can't think
then,
of a single person who wouldn't love to do
right,
that.
exactly. So those kind of things maybe endorse it, and also work with other sort of people like content creators and chefs. And I've got like a potential event coming up in January in London, in Marylebone, believe it or not. And that's going to be like really, really cool. I'm bringing in a couple of friends of mine who are foragers and chefs, and that's going to be really interesting. Also, I'm not going to go into details because nothing's confirmed yet, but there are potentially some very exciting events in London.
Wonderful.
Just really just trying to turn it into a business, because at the moment it is fun, but it's not, it's not scalable. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, at the end of the day, you've got to live and you've got your own dreams to fulfill and things like that. So,
mm, totally, and yeah, exactly, and sort of get back at my ex-wife by actually having some money for once, which would be fun. I actually want to get back at her because this weekend her cat smashed my phone, which is now I'm on the backup phone at the moment.
how does a cat smash a phone? I'm assuming it knocked it off of something.
Well, when it's been trained by her ex-wife to do exactly that, it just kind of like, it's like sort of sleeper cell. I come in and it hears my voice and it just sort of,
So the cat was activated.
yeah. I think it was actually trying to sink its claws into my penis, but actually it hit the phone first and smashed that. But
These are all words that my channel is not used to.
well, penis is not a rude word. It's just
Well,
an
no,
uncomfortable word. You could hear that in a doctor.
it just doesn't come up so often in the
That's because
sort
you're
of
getting older,
food
mate.
game
Mine
world.
does. Your penis doesn't come up very often, doesn't it? You can get pills for that.
Thank God.
Mm.
On on the note, because you've touched on like
I'm not
game and
touching anything now.
venison, you're going to be a
Not without
nightmare
gloves on.
tonight.
Mm.
But you're not the traditional forager, are you? Well, I would say you're not the traditional
No, I haven't got
forager.
dreadlocks and dirty fingernails and a dog on a string. I mean, I'm joking. Foragers are. I know a lot of foragers, and they're really, really good at what they do. And there's all different types of foragers. And when it comes to content creators, a lot of foragers focus purely on the knowledge. I don't use Latin names, for example, because I think it's confusing enough without Latin names. But some people go right into that sort of level of detail. Some people really, really work on dear old Fern works on sort of the whole lifestyle piece. It's all beautifully shot. With me, I just try to do it like, if you're walking the dog and you see a mushroom that's shaped like a knob, let's talk about that. In fact, I got in trouble with one guy. He said to me, he sent me a message. He said,
One guy, is that a type of mushroom or?
one guy, yeah. And he said to me, my 14-year-old son and I were enjoying your film about field bluets until you made a blowjob joke and we had to switch it off. Um, and then he said to me, please could you refrain from doing that in future? And I said to him, I'm terribly sorry, but you've come to the wrong channel. You need to either block me or, I mean, I like to just do it because I'm from the 1980s, right, as you can tell. And in the 1980s, we had TV presenters like Johnny Ball and, David Bellamy and, Keith Floyd and people who were just like fun and crazy and big characters. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to try and make it fun. I'm not just going to wander around and go, oh, look, it's a phallus impudicus. I wanted to make it, which is the only Latin name I use. And if you know any Latin, you'll know exactly what that means. It is the stinkhorn. Yeah, so I just love to make it big and fun, and that's kind of where it got to, and it kind of blew up because I had a couple of virals, and the whole people drinking urine mushroom me in trouble in America, and that got quite a lot of views. Yeah,
Views are views, though. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, they say.
Now, what did you also get yourself in trouble a long time ago? That thread that I joined one time, was it about a chicken or something?
Oh, I did a film about battery hens versus pheasants.
Right.
And that one got me in a bit of trouble. I had to block 25 vegans. And it was quite funny because they were really. I mean, vegan is the only sort of food group which has got its own militia. And I had to. There were lots of vegans messaging me going, "We're really sorry, we're not like that. We're just happy. We're happy with your choices and our choices." And most of them are like that, but there were some who insisted on being really, really angry, and attacking my followers and everything. And I had to block them. And I said, "Guys, I'm absolutely fine with you being a vegan. There's no, And also, to me, the idea that like a battery hen, which is going to live 30 days from egg to plate, and by the last 3 of those days, there's so much meat on it can't stand, so it's burning its ass in its own guano. Comparing that to a pheasant, which has lived 4 months in the woods, and they only shoot 25 to 30% of them anyway. I mean, I know it's a controversial and divisive subject, but to my view, it just seemed like I was actually trying to push the message about animal welfare, and I was a bit taken aback by this bombardment. But when you're online, you've got to have a thick skin. You do get this stuff. I got this bloke the other day who said, why didn't you just piss off? But he put of instead of f, off. So I said, there's something uniquely satisfying about being insulted with bad grammar. I hope you have a lovely day and good luck in the spelling test.
You are unbelievable. On the note, because I mean, I've prepared nothing. There's almost nothing I can prepare with you because I know it'll go in a zillion different directions. So
Mm.
you've mentioned game and shoot. It is divided. It's massively divided.
Okay.
After I'm done with this tonight, I'm actually getting on with editing a film called Shoot Day, and it's from a shoot day that I went to. And I'll be brutally honest, nothing that happened I have a problem with whatsoever. I know
Mm.
there's a few arguments going about, wasted food and things like that. But I think that a shoot day that happens and it's, completely not wasted, which this one is, and it all goes into the kitchen, either commercially or personally. I think it is a wonderful, wonderful event and is great for the countryside, personally.
I agree. I mean, the small farm shoots, the small, not the big commercial ones. I think absolutely. I mean, all the guns I knew on the shoots I went to were severely good shots. So the idea that I didn't see any birds winged at all. These
Yeah.
guys are really good shots. I mean, and that's why it is. I mean, most of the pheasants, as you'll probably notice, tend to fly into your car or go under it. They're
Mm.
not brightest animals in the world. I mean, I know there's a lot of arguments about introducing, loads of species into the ecosystem and all those kind of things. And yes, I mean, half the crops we grow aren't supposed to be in our ecosystem. I think the thing about it is it's a community thing. It's for some farmers, it's an opportunity for a bit of diversified land use at a time of year when there isn't much else to earn from the land. It brings the community together. I've been on the shoots and I've met, there's also this whole thing about shoots being posh people, which is the biggest load of rubbish. Most of the people you meet on a shoot, I mean, I just did mostly did beating, and people I meet on the shoot, they're all just like proper salt of the earth, all kinds of people.
Yeah.
You might have the lord of the manor, and you might have the bloke who works in the pub, and everyone's just hanging out, drinking a bit of sloe gin, walking around the fields, waving flags. It's a really good day out, and it's a long-standing tradition. It is not overtly cruel. I mean, I think the days of chasing down animals with dogs are behind us. I'm not into that. Same with
Yeah.
deer. I think that much as I love seeing the hunt all dressed up and everything, I think that should be consigned to the past probably. But and shooting a deer, I mean, I've stalked a deer. I remember when I was in London, I was on my way to do the deer stalk that following weekend, and I bumped into an old university friend. And no matter how I framed it, he couldn't accept that this was something I should be doing. I mean, I'll eat any old crap kebab on the way home from the thing. And when I did shoot the deer, and you'll know all about this, all I was concerned about was making sure that animal died instantly, and it didn't suffer, and it did. I knew what I was doing. If you're going to go around and don't know what you're doing, and you start shooting animals and injuring them, then you've got no business doing it. It is a surgical task, and it needs to be respected. But when it's done right, when you take a deer and you take the right deer for the herd, the right deer that's no longer a breeding animal, or there's something else wrong with it, for some reason it's not going to be valuable to the herd, and you have like its heart and liver for breakfast, it's the most incredible feeling. I mean, you've been through this, right?
Mate, this is music to my ears. I mean, I'm trying to not promote it, but in a way, I suppose I am. I think it's also to me just common sense. It's a no-brainer.
Mm.
There's free food literally walking around out there.
Well, it's got to be
Absolute
controlled as well.
no-brainer.
It's got to be controlled because it is our fault that there are so many deer, no question about that. If you want to reintroduce wolves and bears, good luck with that. But they have to be controlled. I mean, there's more deer in this country now than there has been for the last 3,000 years, and they're going to stay. They spill out onto the roads. That's no way for an animal to die. First of all, you might kill yourself if you hit a deer at 70 miles an hour, but if it's lying on the side of the road, it's going to die slowly.
Yeah.
Deer, when there's too many of them, they destroy the young shoots. They just take the bark off the trees. They spread disease amongst themselves. We're not trying to eradicate them. They just need to be controlled. And also, the meat that you're eating is healthy. It's not. You can't say it's organic. It's not certified, but it's basically what's wild. If you get yourself, I mean, where I was up in Oxfordshire, I was getting myself a muntjac for a tenner, and I break that down, and there'd be about 9 or 10 pounds of meat there, which I could put in my freezer, and that'll do me for most of the month. And it's super healthy. If you are on a low income, which let's face it, thanks to Rachel from accounts, most people are. You know, you can get yourself one of those if you have the courage to do it in your kitchen or in your back garden. You can feed your kids something which is delicious and healthy. My kids, I made them a game stew from various different, or game pie from stuff. They didn't even bat an eyelid, didn't even
No.
ask a question. They just said, "This is delicious."
Out of interest, then, how would you rate your game preferences? I.e., do you like it gamey and honking, or sort of more towards the lower ends, or what?
Um, you've no idea how I'm switching off my innuendo radar right now.
Turn it on
It's going off like no.
in your endo.
Back away. I'm not going to the lower ends. No matter how stinker they are. So no, I don't hang it. And I like the meat relatively fresh. I don't hang it for a long
Yeah,
time. I mean,
same.
I like it to taste pretty much like good quality beef.
This is what I tell people. I tell people, in a way, treat it like beef. It's not that much different.
In terms of what's my favourites, actually I'm very impressed with Muntjac. Muntjac is delicious. There's the two steaks down the middle of the back.
Backstraps.
Backstraps are fantastic on there,
Of course.
I mean, it's almost like a sweetness to it. I can't eat roe deer. Last two times I ate
Yes.
I literally was like,
That was not good, was it?
it was no. I was hanging out the back of my van. I was both coming out of both ends. I mean, I had to giggle. You got to laugh, don't you, when you're?
I don't know if you text me or rang me about that, but I remember you telling me about it.
I mean, when you're a British man in his 50s, you basically got a soup fountain coming out of either end, and you just sat there and you're like, how am I? You just got to laugh at yourself, haven't you? So I can't eat roe deer anymore.
But funnily, that is sort of a thing. There's actually a few people that, for whatever reason, that seems to happen, and I have no idea why.
Before, yeah.
If anyone's watching that can explain why, I would love to know, because it does seem to be a bit of a thing.
I've got a friend who can't eat venison, period, because it just comes straight out again. I mean, obviously, just doesn't agree with some people. Other venison, I have no problem at all. When it comes to game birds, I think pigeon is my favourite by a mile.
Yeah, I like a pigeon.
I love pigeon. Partridge, I think, is far superior to pheasant. I mean, pheasant's okay, but it can get a bit dry. Partridge is a much better flavour. But pigeon, I mean, just I know that various people are trying to protect pigeons. You're not going to run out of pigeons, and if you have a field with seed down, and I've seen flocks in Oxfordshire of 300-400 pigeons, they're like locusts. Taking a few pigeons is not going to do any harm, and a couple of lightly cooked pigeon breasts on a bit of salad is a fantastic meal, or just on some toast. There's a funny story. I did a film about pigeon. I got a pigeon and I breasted it out and I made a plum sauce. It was like all autumn things, and I wanted to put it on toast. So I was at my friend's house, and all she had in the bread bin.
I was going to say, is this the one where you put it on like the shittest piece of white bread ever?
A bit of mother's pride, and so I thought, I didn't even think twice about it, So I'm just putting loads of butter on there, and I put the pigeon on. And I got these people going, well, I was enjoying the film until I saw the bread. I mean, where's the sourdough? And I just had to switch off.
It's the sourdough.
And I said to this guy, I said, look, this channel's for everybody, not just for bread wankers, because, sourdough's marvelous stuff. I like a bit of sourdough like the next man. If you were going to cook sourdough in your house, you can get your oven super, super hot. It ain't carbon friendly. And, a lot of people have just got normal bread. So, make this
Do you know what's funny about that? Is I remember a handful of people who were messaging me about that toast saying, what's your mate doing? I was just like, this is unreal, like third-party abuse.
Well, I mean, the fact that people, what would even possess you? I mean, I don't write negative comments on anything, ever. What would even possess you? I get people writing stuff, and someone called me fat the other day. I'm like, yeah, right, thanks.
You are not fat. You're just big boned.
I am. I've got this massive bone here. It's like a beer harvester. It just goes. It's like a teeth just chewing up beer.
It was when you looked down.
Yeah, I looked down thinking, where are my feet? I haven't seen them for so long. People do. They say some really nasty things,
But they feel like they absolutely must say something, don't they? And then whether they think, wow, I've really nailed it with that comment.
It always makes me laugh. I mean, at Facebook you get it quite a lot, and you go to their thing, and they've got like 6 friends. Thinking, Well, I think you're about to get 5 friends if you carry on that way. I just do not possesses people to do that. And yeah, I mean, with the bread thing, it's like, you know, there's 14 million people in this country who are considered below the poverty line. Do you think they're going to have fucking sourdough? They're the ones who should be eating pigeons because A, it's going to be better for their health, and B, it's free. The same way that,
It depends on what sort of pigeons they can get, but
well, of course. I mean, I had all these people going, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're eating those things from Trafalgar Square," and I'm like, "Where in this film did you see Trafalgar Square?" You do understand there is more than one species of pigeon. I'm not eating sky round toast, but the people, people just, no. This is the. I mean, this comes back to the point about what you and I do. Both our channels are about education, really, aren't they? We're educating. You're on a journey. You're educating yourself. I mean, I was too when I first started out doing this. I didn't, start out knowing hundreds of different plants and stuff. I've learned as I went, and you do it in a way which is not pretentious, and you do it in a way when you're not talking down to people. You're just going, look at this, it's amazing. Druids used to stick this up the bum, and it's something, and you'll remember that.
well, who doesn't remember something up the bum?
Exactly. Well, let's try and put that behind us, shall we?
Should we talk food and drink bullshit?
Absolutely,
because that's we sort of agreed that perhaps that might be the way forward for this, and I might take that forward, to future chats. I've got. Can I go first? Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
I've got a food bullshit item that I'd like to do a bit of show and tell with.
Okay, go on then.
And my bubble was burst recently by someone pointing this out, and it's this
What is that?
Bisto.
What's it made of?
But this is the point. You would assume that what you've got here is 100% gravy, right? Whatever whatever that even means, right? I'd never even thought about this. But when you go onto the ingredients, I mean, this is horrific. Are you ready? So, and I apologise in advance because I can't read a lot of these words, but maltodextrin, potato starch, salt, vegetable oils, palm and rapeseed. Can you hear me?
I think it just went quiet because you said that word.
No, I had a call come in.
Yeah, right.
Color, ammonia, caramel, flavor enhancers, monosodium glutamate, disodium 5 ribonucleotides, flavorings, and then this is finally when we get to beef extract powder, 1%, and then it goes on and on and on and on and on. And this was my hero.
Did you say caramel ammonia?
Ammonia caramel.
That sounds like a racehorse.
But forgive my French, but what the fuck?
Yeah, and well, I think you've got to remember that. I mean, we in the 1980s when Bisto was kind of getting a big thing. It was already around, but it was getting bigger. This is back in the day when people started eating margarine. And I discovered that margarine was actually made from oil, and the Germans used to actually make during the war. They used to make, because they wanted to just give loads and loads of fat and energy to their soldiers. They just made margarine out of crude oil and fed it to the soldiers. I mean, if you put a block of margarine in the garden next to a block of butter, the ants will eat the butter. They won't touch the margarine. It's absolute filth.
Ants know best.
We were told that fat's bad for you. Fat's not bad for you. We're told that carbohydrates are bad for you. They're not. Just moderation, but they're not bad for you at all. Sugar isn't technically bad for you. You just got to just not eat it all the time. And all these natural substances. I mean, I get, as I said to you, I make films on TikTok. First film I did where I was breaking a deer down. I did it on TikTok, and it's taken down. I mean, I can watch a film. I've seen films on TikTok of children being knocked down by cars and everyone going roll. But
this is the algorithm that we're up against at the moment. It's crazy.
Someone's gone in there and gone, yeah, he's doing a blood thing. It's like, where do you think this comes from? I was talking to a woman on Instagram a couple of years ago, and she said she was a teacher, and she had a stand-up argument with one of the kids in her class who refused to accept that potatoes come from the ground. And you think, how did this happen? Even the stupidest kid in my school knew this stuff. So someone's been, hiding. It seems like they're hiding the information. And so coming on to talking about my bullshit story, there's a few. I did a film last week about honey, fake honey, and I famously covered my face in runny, cheap fake honey.
Can we just take a moment to at least try and describe what's happened? Were you led down flat at the time? Because it almost looked like you were hanging over the edge of a bed.
If you want to put on some 70s porn music, and I'll take you through it.
I mean, it was a hell of an opening shot. If we can imagine.
I had something back because my nose is so big, and basically,
and then someone just
no me
above.
Me, I was on my own in the van. And
but you were on your own.
Oh yeah. Do you think I've got like my own honey pourer?
Well, I assumed that there was someone emptying.
I can ask to sort of pour honey on my face. I mean, I'm sure that day will come, but at the moment it hasn't happened. I just did it myself, and I got it everywhere. It was all over my t-shirt, it was all over the floor,
and when it was all in your beard and everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it still is. That's probably why I had a haircut, just to get it all out. But it was worth it because it got a lot of people's attention. And the point about it is that when 90% of the honey that we eat in the UK is imported, and of that, a good deal is what they call adulterated or fake honey, and it's basically some of it might have a little bit of honey in it, like enough to pass certain tests, and the rest is just sugar syrup. But which would be fine if they sold it as honey flavored sauce or honey flavored syrup, but they don't. They just says clear honey or pure honey, and it isn't. And you know, I put the story out again. It got lots of people getting on, but you know, lots of people were sort of talking about it, and then all these people on Threads. Which I don't really use Threads, but I thought I'd have a look on there, and there's loads of people on Threads. Threads is a little more vicious than Instagram. And everyone's going, "Oh, this is bullshit, show me the proof." So I found 6 or 7 articles, like The Guardian and the European Commission and the Independent, all have done proper studies on this stuff. And it is fake, and they shouldn't be calling it. It's absolute scandal, it's fraud. And also, you know, British honey producers get a lot of stick because their honey's too expensive. Well, you have to work out the costs. Yeah, honey is good for you. This stuff is just rotting your teeth.
Just sugar, really.
And also because I'm doing a project called Plan Bees, where we're trying to help wild bees and British honey producers. We have, as you say, Mr. Handlebar, we have lost our
I just read that.
Totally, yeah. This guy's he's a suit as hell, man. And we were having some banter today, actually, weren't we? Anyway, but he, not him, but yeah, the honey is so good, and it's so important to support our honey producers because we have lost 85 to 90% of our flying insects in this country in the last 30 years, and so we actually don't have enough wild insects and bees to pollinate all the freaking food. So we do need to have responsible, ethical beekeepers who care about wild bees and don't overdo it, and they're careful about the amount of forage and stuff. As we try to bring the wild bee population back, we still need the pollinators. There are some crops in east of England, southeast of England, like strawberries and stuff, where they have to actually import bees from Amsterdam to pollinate them. Really? Not Amsterdam particularly. They're not like prostitute sort of weed smoking bees. I'm smoking a pancake, but you know, but they're from Holland. And that's ridiculous that we have to import bees to pollinate our food. So supporting British beekeepers and small, you know, it's a really important thing. And the fact that, you know, people are buying honey and they don't even know it's honey. If it's £1.20 a jar, I tell you right now, those numbers do not add up. No. So I'm cross about that, and I try and push the message. And on Plan B's on the website, we're doing a honey directory called the Honey Run, where basically it's got all the local, as many as we can, local bee people. And when you're in an area, you can go there and you can find your local bee producer. Because also, if you reputedly, and there's been studies into this, if you eat honey from your local area, because you're surrounded by the pollen and everything of those plants, it's very good for allergies and things like that. So it's a great natural product.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's great to just drizzle over. All I could think was jizzle over your face then, but drizzle.
You had to take it there, didn't you? You had to go there.
How was your skin afterwards?
Tasty. I felt like a crumpet. I actually had quite a few messages from people. I do get some fun. Did I tell you the funny? I mean, I did tell you that. I was trying to tell you this is the funniest message I ever got in the comments, not even in the DMs. One woman, and I don't know who she was or how old she was, or I didn't even look into it. She just wrote the line, "You can forage my bush anytime." which I thought was an extremely bold thing to write in the comments. And I just said, that's incredibly generous of you, madam, but on this occasion I must decline. But,
What other food bullshit are we talking about then?
right, fungus. Now, it's not necessarily food. Well, it is. There's a food angle to it. This weekend, legislation has been passed so that people who produce tinctures, which is basically one of the ways of delivering medicinal mushrooms like cordyceps and lion's mane and turkey tails, you have a tincture is basically where you put it with alcohol, and it actually concentrates the chemicals and makes it basically a more powerful substance. And all the best tests that have been done on these mushrooms, cordyceps are good for things like your stomach biome, for like stress and stuff like that, and turkey tails give things like cancer, and there's all kinds of things that they've been doing some great studies on. They decided that these two particular mushrooms, cordyceps and turkey tails, are what's called a novel food item. And which is like a novel food item. I mean, a novel food item is basically an ice cream shaped like a dildo. That's, they're not novel food.
Isn't that novelty food item?
Yeah, like Dachshund soup. So they basically they decided that these things are they actually were categorized as novel food items, but they've now pushed this legislation. So people have grown these products, they've made them, they've labeled them, they've produced them, they've got tons of them. There's only small businesses, and they're having to give them away for free because they can't sell them. And I was talking to a woman earlier on from one of these companies, Bristol Fungarian, which you should go and see them, they're near you guys, and lovely woman, and she's getting lawyered up, and it's costing them money. It's like, it's ridiculous. It is red tape, high forehead jobs worth bullshit, and it's attacking small businesses, all because of some, little kind of like legal.
I was going to say, who even came up with that?
Well, I don't want to say big pharma. And when I say big pharma, I'm not talking about Jeremy Clarkson. I mean, big pharma, basically, if you start seeing those tinctures on the shelves in 2 years' time made by a big company, then that's what's happened. I don't know that for certain, so I'm saying it could be the reason. It just feels to me that these things are so popular and people are spending a lot of money on them, and there's a lot of great results and people love them, and it's a natural alternative medicine, no harm in it at all, and suddenly they've clobbered them for it. I mean, let's face it, farmers have had enough of a hard time this year as it is, and now they're clobbering people like this. Why does anyone even bother wanting to be an entrepreneur in this country the way that this government behaves? I mean, it's not me, it's the mead speaking.
We're really getting it out tonight, aren't we?
We're having it. We're having it.
This is just like therapy now.
Tell me about your mother.
Did you leave my mother out of it?
As a child, yes, when he hit me in the face with it.
But it just goes to show, like, packaging nowadays is, I think it's ridiculous, and the terminologies and the words, and it's so misleading.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I can't think of any other example. I mean, I try to, as I sort of alluded to earlier on, I'm looking at a project next year to try and eat more British produce, and I try to do that. And I look at some of the things that, when I see something like bacon, and I know it's come from somewhere like Denmark, and this is not a Brexit conversation, that's a bigger conversation, but there are certain things about, for example, European animal welfare standards which don't match our own, and the way they treat pigs in Denmark, just look it up.
Funny you should say that. I was in a very well-known garden centre round here that has a similar name to a well-known chocolate brand, and they've got a butchery. Cadbury.
I thought I was going to say Dobbies.
No, they've got a butchery inside selling, loads of meats. Looks very fancy, and I was
butchering plants.
Yeah, well, anyway, so I was staring at this sort of, I guess, the ham bacon section, and it must have been perfect timing, and someone came up and said, "Can I help you?" And I'd noticed that it was sort of Danish bacon, and I'm looking at it, and I just simply came out with, "Why the fuck are you selling this here?" It's it was just like,
that was awkward.
No, it's just ridiculous, the fact that that everywhere else appears to be local produce and support small businesses and all of that, and it's like, Danish bacon. What?
I know.
Crazy, isn't it?
In China, they have pig skyscrapers.
Oh,
All the way up, all the way
I've
up.
seen them.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
in a way, it's absolutely an incredible way of sustaining the population. It's very
well, they
clever.
eat 70%, 75% of the world's pork. They just love pork over there. They don't like
But
lamb.
oh my God, it's just horrific in my opinion. But
Well,
what?
I mean, the thing is that, you can't, as I say, you can't stand and judge other countries in too much. But the point is, in this country, we have certain levels of animal welfare, and we try to stick to them. And so when I see things on the shelves that I know haven't had that rigorous animal welfare standards, but I see it at some ridiculous price. It's the same with, we talked about chickens earlier on. I mean, if you're I can't judge someone who's got a low income. If you're on a low income, you can't afford one of Hugh Fernie Whittingstall's £22 organic chickens. You can't. But when you see a chicken in Tesco, there's a good sized chicken at about £3.50.
Yeah.
We know what's going on there. I wish they would subsidise the poultry industry. I think that farmers don't actually want to do it that way. It's legal, and they do it to make a living. I think if farmers were incentivised to be more free range, they would. I know farmers, and farmers, this myth that farmers don't care about their animals is the biggest load of bollocks. They do. They really do. They care about their animals. They care about their land. And they act within the rules. They have to make a living, and when they're being persecuted, they have to. It can't always, the animals' welfare can't always come first, and we don't subsidise it. You see free range eggs. When you look into that, some of the free range eggs are actually a chicken in a slightly larger cage. There's all kinds of dodgy stuff going on there too, and we just kind of put up with it and go, oh well, never mind. It's
But
dead now.
this is the problem. There are too many people just putting up with it, just accepting it, putting their fingers in their ears, covering their eyes, la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. And it's feeding the problem, isn't it? I mean, I try and say to people that I'm close to, just turn the packaging over, just have a little look to see what's in there. I mean,
Do
I
you know how
could,
many eggs would get smashed if everyone did that?
well,
Um, but no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I
but
mean,
like have a little look, see what's in there. If you can understand what is in there, the chances are it can't be good, surely. I mean, what I just read out then, I mean, if we spent some time Googling it, I mean, if you have to Google what you're eating, that can't be good.
no, not at all. And I love the way they can just put the word flavorings. I mean, that could be anything. Flavors of
Yeah,
what?
yeah, exactly.
I
Could
mean,
be
turd,
anything.
turd is a flavoring. I mean, there's so much of this stuff on the shelves, and it's brightly coloured, and people will buy it, and it's cheap. People haven't got much money, and they will, and they'll buy it. And I think it's very unfair. I think it's very unfair on the people that you see. I like to try and promote local, seasonal, sustainable eating, as do you. I feel that you go to a farm shop and you're like, well, these prices are bullshit. No, those prices are honest. I've seen farmers saying that if everything was
Yeah,
priced at what it should be priced, you wouldn't be able to afford it.
yeah.
So they do all these things. I mean, there are companies, I hesitate to say this as a fact because Jamie's the source of it, but I think there is some truth in it. One of the big cider houses in Somerset was flying in apples from New Zealand. I heard, because they've got a system there where they can freeze them, keep them chilled for a year, and they last. I could be wrong, so by all means, if I'm wrong, I'll take that. But I know that some people are doing it.
Does it rhyme with batches?
Uh, possibly. Um, uh,
With
it could possibly rhyme with that.
Well, if there was someone with that similar sounding, I heard that things were coming in concentrate from Peru.
I mean,
Anyway,
in Somerset, where we have the best apples, arguably in the world.
but not in mass quantities. We don't.
Well,
I'm assuming we just don't have it. I don't know.
well, there's a lot. I did a great. I went to the guys at Sheppy's, and Sheppy's
Yeah.
try to support. There's lots of old. Um, I've completely forgotten them. What's the fucking field full of apple trees called?
Orchard.
Orchard. Yeah, there's loads of old orchards. What are all the moments to lose a word like that? But yeah, there was loads of orchards, and they're just old, and they've just kind of gone to rack and ruin. And so they pick them, or the farmers can bring the apples in from them.
Yeah.
They will then they make the cider, and then they get the lint, which is basically the leftover from the cider, and they give it back as animal feed. And they get these unusual varieties of apples, and you get because there's fantastic apples in that part of the world. It's just not been supported. I mean, I think one of the great things about Somerset, and when you head to the west of England, is that everyone does actually drink cider. I do like I like a good
Uara.
They do. They love it, and
Yeah.
it's great. You know, I mean, cider is fighting juice for certain, but they love it, and I think it's great that they do. They support the industry, and the idea of bringing flying. I mean, you know, when you go to someone like Borough Market, and you'll see these apples which are like individually wrapped and so shiny you can see your face in them, and you're thinking, what is this? This isn't real. You know, I like to see a Cox's orange pippin that's looking a bit rough around the edges. You know,
I bet you do.
I do. I like a Cox's orange. It's just one of my porn searches. But
One of them.
I'm joking. I don't have such things, for goodness sake. The very idea.
Right. On that note, we did say we'd keep this under 4 hours. So one thing I do want to sort of say, and I actually meant to say this to you earlier on the phone call, you are officially part of my estates collective group, because when I was trying to put things together, I was desperate to do some content with you, and I apologise, it's just not happened, and I deeply regret
Because I've
that.
muted the list.
I know,
No,
but
no, yeah, we're up for it. So tell me more about this. What
right. So the Estates Collective started with just a few of my mates, a few of my close, weren't necessarily deer stalkers, but a few of my closest, nearest and dearest who I trusted, and it was never set up as a support group, but I mean, I used to say to people, guys, I'm having a really bad day, can someone just cheer me up, or something like that. And it started like that, just kind of friends talking, and it was whilst I was going on my my deer stalking journey and things like that. And then I wanted to then tie that into some kind of story by going out with them and doing stuff with them and trying to tie up an episode where I could say, oh, I'm out with Tom today, I'm out with George today, doing whatever it is they're doing. And it's grown really, really well over the last 4 episodes. Episode 5 is live for the public on Pete. Episode 5 is going live on Friday, and then the final one is the shoot day that I mentioned earlier. But what I want to do in 2026 is take everyone's story and plan to meet up with you, which is why I'm very pleased. If you're moving towards Dorset, that's going to be closer for me.
Yeah.
And just go out and try and show my audience what it is that you're doing, and what George the farmer's doing, and what Matt the deer stalker and Pete up in Scotland and Sarah, like Stu, just show them what it is that we're doing, and hopefully inspire people that, one, it's totally okay, and two, it's really good. That's what I'd like to do. I keep being told that it'll never happen, but I would love for it to be kind of like a food deer stalking Clarkson's farm type thing. That's the sort of vision. But they all keep saying, yeah, but you're killing animals, so that's never going to happen. But
Clarkson's farm doesn't do that, does he?
well, I got all excited when, you know, that bit where he sort of picks up the gun and he had Hugh on from the BDS, and I thought there was going to be a little bit more to it, but there wasn't. And I think that's probably because the population will piss their pants and cry.
Well, you know, one of my big inspirations for starting this was the very first maybe 2 to 3 seasons of River Cottage, which I loved. You know, it was just when it was just him and the little.
Yeah.
I found the whole thing totally inspirational. And there's an episode in there where he goes and stalks a roe deer. He doesn't actually get it, only because there wasn't a shot on. But you know, he shoots in the very first episode. He shoots the guy next door's got a bunch of doves, and some of the doves have been bred with the local pigeons, so he wants to keep them pure. So basically, they shoot them, and he fishes all the way through it. He slaughters his own animals, gets animals slaughtered, and he basically uses the hams from the pigs as a bartering system. But so, that's country living. If you don't live in the countryside, you don't understand. And I think that obviously social media and everything goes out to everybody. But if you go into the countryside, you'll see these things. I mean, a pub I was in Oxford, my local pub, you would think nothing of walking in and seeing a pile of pheasants by the back door because someone was basically swapping them for beer or something. It was quite normal.
Yeah.
And people eat them. I mean, there was a strange guy sitting at the bar carving dogs' heads on the ends of walking sticks, and he used to eat badgers and foxes and all sorts. But there's always one, isn't there? But yeah, it's country living. You're working with the land, using the land. You're controlling pests on your land. You're eating the food. They're healthy people. They're healthy, tough people because they eat real food. And I do find it odd that, I mean, Countryfile, arguably the most boring. I mean, I could literally watch, snails doing press ups rather than watch Countryfile, which is why I like Clarkson's Farm, because at least.
Is this another porn search?
Yeah, no, not yet. No, I think Clarkson's Farm is great fun. I mean, because it is a bit staged, but actually it shows how.
But look how much the population have grown to love and support farmers off the back of it. I think it's fantastic.
And the people that love it the most are the farmers. When I talk to the farmers, they love it.
So what I want to do is I want people to try and get behind wild food like venison, and in your case you were supposed to help me show what an amazing bounty you can get from the wild larder from a foraging perspective. And I want to show them that it's okay to go and do that. And actually, you can enjoy it in the sense that you can enjoy the day, you can enjoy the people you're with, you can enjoy having the skills that you've got to go out and do that, and then enjoy the food behind it, knowing exactly where it's come from.
I think the way I sort of differentiate it is, if you enjoying shooting is one thing. I can't tell you how exciting. I did a 5-hour stalk and my heart was beating out of my chest the whole time. But I don't enjoy the killing.
Was it uphill, was it?
Well, yes. A little bit. I don't enjoy killing. I mean, if you enjoy actual killing, if the killing is the bit that excites you, then you need to see a doctor. It's about surgically taking out an animal that is you're actually doing something which is nature conservation, and you are honouring that animal by eating as much of it as you can.
100%.
And it's really that simple. And people say, "Oh, poor animals, they're dying." An animal that's like, let's say, the buck I shot was probably 6 or 7 years old, probably wouldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 more years. And do you know how an animal dies in the wild? It starves to death,
or it gets caught in a fence, or hit by a car, or disease, or
exactly. So there is no pleasant death, and nature is a cruel mistress. There is no pleasant death for animals. And sure, let nature take its course, etc. But like when I grab a deer, I tend to leave a lot of the guts just for the foxes or for nature, and then you take the meat. And it's just a process, and it's worked for thousands and thousands of years. It seems that how funny in the last 25 years people could just tell everybody that we're wrong.
It's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy.
I mean, I have absolutely no issue at all with vegans or vegetarians or anybody who makes those choices. It's fantastic. And a lot of them, people do it for really good personal reasons. It's absolutely fine. But the vitriol that gets put to people like you, I mean, I admire Sarah and people like, and the, what's her name? The Black Huntress, what's her name? There's a black girl who's
Nicole.
Nicole, she's awesome. And you're posting pictures of actual things you've shot. I mean, it's brave. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I think it's brave, and I think it's just, and it's not trophy hunting. You're going to eat that thing, and so I think it's a lack of education, and it's people just wanting to be armchair warriors, wanting to be angry.
Yeah,
and that's always going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it.
Hopefully next year, I'm already a lot more free, which is good. We're definitely doing something. I don't care what it. Even if I've got a gate crash one of your gigs, I'll just come along.
Come on a foraging walk. We'll just go on a walk. We'll do some foraging, and then bring some meat in the van or whatever, and then we'll have a cook up.
Love that.
That'd be great, and camp or whatever.
And likewise, you can stop in here anytime, and we'll light a fire and cook something. Anyway.
I want to see your sort of new Fandango garden complex.
Have you not seen it?
I've seen the pictures of it. I've not actually been, but
Oh well, when you're next this way, mate, we'll lose a night or two to it if you want.
yeah, no, I'd like to have a look at it. Well, you know, if I'm going there, there's got to be some serious meat inside me.
Mate, I guarantee serious meat inside you.
Right. Okay. Well, that's
That's
good.
that's a promise.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do it. I mean, and because I like, you know, I like that, and I like, you know,
I
eating.
like that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I likes it. I do.
You know.
Right, let's end it there. Thank you very much.
On that cliffhanger.
If anyone's watching my side that isn't following Tom, please please give Tom a follow. And if anyone on your side wants, and if anyone's interested,
Hunter Gatherer Cooking, he's a good lad.
yeah. And if anyone's interested in the Estates Collective, the first 4 episodes are live on my YouTube. And I promise you, we will do something together because I really, really, really want you to bring that foraging element. Because what I'd like to do in one episode is either I'll go out and get a deer with one of them, or they can go out and get a deer. We'll do a little bit with your foraging and then put the two together.
Yep. Absolutely, let's do it. That'd be good. Well, I've got, you know, I don't have a lot of time on my hands at the moment. Next year's starting to build up.
Yeah. We'll sort that out.
For it. I've got good. There's going to be. I need to find some locations down in. I've been chatting to Mark Hicks, and we're working out some good locations and stuff. So
Cool.
There'll be plenty of that. Let's do it. It'll be a laugh.
Awesome. All right, mate. Right, you bugger off, and I'm going to do my ending, and then yeah, I'll drop you a text later.
All right. See you later, folks. Thanks.
Always a pleasure, mate. See you later.
Take care, old boy.
Wow. Tom is absolutely hilarious. It is always, always, always fun to catch up with him. If you think that is good or bad, depending on your opinion, then you should meet him in person. I cannot rate high enough how funny Tom is. If you want to go on one of his foraging walks and tours, head over to his page, head over to his website. Whether he's got the 2026 plans out or not, have a little look, see what he's got going on. He's an amazing character. So thank you, Tom, if you're still watching. Really enjoyed that one. And if anyone is still watching and wants to have a little look at the Estates Collective films that I've put together, there's lots and lots of different things going on. I've not officially said this yet, but episode 5 was one of my favorites because I ended up cooking a Chinese dish with the Chinese water deer, and it was crispy chili venison. So that is live for the public on Friday, unless you are a YouTube member, and they get early access and things like that. So again, thanks very much for watching. I look forward to next week, and this is where I panic because I need to go onto the diary because I can't remember who I've actually got booked in. It is, he says, delaying. Of course, I've got Nicole. So we spoke about Nicole in the chat then with Tom. So we've got Nicole coming on, whose handle is Shooting Girl with an Afro, who again is an amazing woman who is hunting and posting up on Instagram, things like that. So I'll put all of her details in the description if you want to preempt that and give her a follow. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I'll see you soon for another Chinwag next Wednesday at 7. Take care.